Hey everyone, welcome back to my championship paintball game, Sullivan's championship paintball game, devlog. So, a couple of updates. The first and foremost is I'm actually putting it aside for a little bit. And I'm just gonna get into it. The reason being is because AI is kicking my ass. I am banging my head against the wall trying to figure it out. Between behavior trees, blackboard keys, decorators, services, tasks, EQS system. I mean, oh my god, the whole thing. I've tried doing it with all of Unreal's documentation. I've tried learning all of the tutorials I can online. All of them are just simple, follow the player. A few of them are go to this cover and crouch, but none of them really do anything decision wise that I can find. And again, learning all of those systems I just named off in Unreal is insane and daunting. Besides that, I've tried using different plugins, Viz AI, Sense System, things like that, and the documentation is just not there for those, so I can't figure it out. I just can't. It's driving me nuts. So I've decided to table Sullivan's Championship Paintball just for a little bit. I promise to go back to it once I figure out AI. And that brings me to my next thing that I'm working on is nothing but AI, so I could figure it out. But instead of using all of Unreal's internal systems that are created for AI, the behavior trees and so on and so forth that I mentioned earlier, I'm doing it through strictly Blueprints, which is Unreal Engine's visual scripting, I guess, language or tool with all the nodes and everything that you've seen in my previous, videos. And so I'm learning it that way so I can learn more about how blueprints work. And I've noticed that you can actually do or manipulate your AI using blueprints, using just strictly either code if I were to learn C++, or with blueprints themselves. I can bypass behavior trees, blackboard keys, decorators, tasks, services. I can bypass all of those if I can stick with blueprints, and maybe a little C++ if I want to learn any of that. So what I'm trying to get at is championship paintball tabled. New game I'm about to show you is forcing me to learn artificial intelligence so I can get better and make the paintball game how I want it to be, how I want the AI to be. An evolution of ever-changing AI from beginner rookie walk-on to can't aim worth shit to high-level pro players who can hit you pinpoint within 1-2 shots. Just I need the scaling there, and right now I don't have the knowledge myself to figure it out. So I'm tabling it so I can focus on figuring out how to push AI decision making based on conditions, and I'm getting there. So to bring it all back in, has anybody ever played Monster Rancher? The original 4 games, I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4. I loved Monster Rancher 2. The premise of you get a monster. Doesn't matter in how, like in the old days, you'd grab a CD, any CD, pop it in your PlayStation, it'll read the CD, and it'll give you a monster. That's amazing. Now they re-released it, I think earlier this year, where you can just grab a file. It could be a JPEG, PNG, MP3, CDR if you're Corel, Illustrator, Photoshop. It doesn't matter. It could be a text file, an HTML file, SVG. It doesn't matter. Anything. You grab that, throw it into the game, and it'll pop out a monster. I love the fact that you are creating some kind of connection with this being, this digital being. You're training it, you're feeding it, you're growing it, and then you have it compete in a tournament of some sort to gain money. The fourth one was I think it was the fourth one. It was kind of cool where you could go on like expeditions and adventures, a little more in depth than the other ones. But I'm not doing any of that. That's maybe a second game type thing. I'm making a Monster Rancher type clone that will force me to do AI. If you've ever played it, then you would know in the tournaments, the monsters they're just going to do whatever they want. But you can help command them to attack, but they may or may not listen, depending on if you've scolded them too much, or you haven't fed them, or you trained them way too hard. They may not listen to you. That's what I'm trying to do in this. So let me show you the system I have so far. I'm using Unreal Engine 5, using the top-down template, top-down character template, and in the level, all of its base except for these triangular pyramids, the companion guy, who is really just this guy, just smaller, these spheres here for health training, strength training, speed training, and that is it. That's all that's special in the level itself. So right now, all I have built out is the training area, the beginning portion of it, to where you've gotten your monster, or whatever this being will end up being. I haven't figured out what I want it to be just yet. I just know the mechanics and the type of story that I want to display. So this area is where you have your little guy following you around, and he'll just chase you around. Doesn't matter till you give him some kind of command, or until he gets hungry. This is going to change. I just wanted to see how this works. Originally, I was going to do a Digimon World 1 clone, where the Digimon follows you around, but instead of notifying you that he's hungry, he's just going to go off and find food by himself within a certain range. And you'll see he's about to go off, find the food object, his health goes up, and now he's back to following. I'm going to scrap that. Don't worry about that. But it was kind of a neat thing to where he could make decisions, and it was kind of a proof of concept for me that I can do just strictly blueprints to make him make decisions. So, you've got all your stats. Right here is your current state. What state is he in? Right now he's in a following state, so he's going to follow the player anywhere he wants, anywhere I go. Doesn't matter where it is. It could be up here. He's going to follow. If I jump down, he doesn't know to jump down. He just walks around. Same thing with up here. And just boop. And he's just going to walk and find me. No big deal. And again, he's going to continue to find food until there's no more food left. Then he's just going to continue to follow me. Don't worry about that. But I have these four down here for health, strength, speed, and loyalty. Loyalty is that system that I was talking about where in a fight, your monster, or whatever, can obey you if he wants to, if he feels like it's a good idea to do so. So if the loyalty is too low, he's not going to listen to you at all. Think of it kind of like also Pokemon games. When you have a really strong monster, but you don't have the badges that would command him to do whatever you ask. He'll just choose not to listen. It's essentially what this is too. But this is more geared towards you've trained him too hard, you haven't praised him enough, or you've scolded him too much, or maybe you haven't fed him at all, and the loyalty will go down, and he will stop listening to you. But I have training set up, so you'll see the speed just went up. He's going to sit there for about 3 seconds till he can do it, and there's a success and failure rate. If he fails, it'll go down like it just did. Every time you train him, loyalty goes down a random number, very small increments. And same thing with strength, and same thing with the health. Now, it's a little bugged right now as far as like, why is it aborting? I don't know. End day, I'll tell you about that in a second. Don't worry too much about it. So that's what we have going on. You can praise them, and you'll see the praise scold button. Again, it's bugged right now, but the loyalty went up after 7 seconds. So when you go to praise him right now, it's the P button. Hit P. Current state will change. It's supposed to change for 7 seconds. He'll stand there, not follow you, and then loyalty would go up. I don't know why it's bugged. Brand new system, building it out right now. I'll show you a little bit more. But you can scold him too. And when you scold him, you really scold him. So loyalty goes down after 7 seconds. Same thing as the praise. And whatnot. Now, you can sit here and just spam spam all you want, the numbers will change, and say, oh, loyalty's down. Well, you just keep praising him, which I can't do right now because of this end of day. Again, don't worry about it. So if I want to just praise him a bunch, it'll praise, I think, 7 times in a row, and it'll just bump this up. Maybe, I don't know. We'll figure that out later. But I have this end of day thing is kind of like a check. So again, in the Monster Rancher game, you have a certain amount of days in the week that you can train your monster, let your monster rest, feed it, go to explore, whatever. That's a way to soft cap you to where you can't grind out his stats endlessly. I'm kind of doing the same thing here where I do think I broke it. Whatever, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Where I'm only allowing 5 total actions per day. Those actions could be training, praising, feeding, whatever. Whereas in the Monster Rancher games, you only get 1 action, maybe like 1.5. Like the praising and scolding you can always do after you train in a day. But I'm maxing it out at 5 right now. We'll see how it goes later on down the road, but I have that lock in there. That way you can't grind out the stats to 94 speed, which you can see is broken. It's just going to continue. I don't understand why. Same thing with strength and same thing with health. But you see how it's going up and down, up and down, up and down. I'm pointing at the screen like you can see it. That's the success and failure rate. So that way, again, you can't just grind and you're like, oh, I'm always gaining. Sometimes, no, you will lose because maybe they didn't train hard enough, or maybe they were having an off day or a bad day, just like the Monster Rancher games. I know I've been talking a lot. That's all I have to show right now as far as the systems go. But I did want to show that we had everything in blueprints. So right now we have the character. I'm in the character class, your main character, and this top piece or portion here doesn't matter. This, we're getting an input action. It's a right click. Then we're going through a sequence to check what it has hit by channel. What did it hit? If it hit train speed, then we're gonna train the speed through a function all on the companion, which is here. This is all of the companion logic. This up here is just to get references to things in the game. So we're getting, the states. Let me actually start there. Sorry, I'm jumping around. I'm still trying to remember what the hell I'm doing. With the states, this is how I'm controlling everything. I'm using an enumerator, which is really just a very simple list of values. This is all it really looks at. This is just description so we know what it's doing. But everything you see in the top right corner here, what state it's in, right now it's following. When you go to training, it's training. It's in a training state. That's all this, all right here. So he's following, then I make him go to training state. If he's hungry, he's gonna look for food. Right now this doesn't do anything, and that doesn't do anything. That doesn't do anything. So I can delete those 3. Combat I'm gonna keep though. And then same thing with praise scold. If I am going to praise him, it changes. Same thing with scold, it'll change. And you see he went looking for food because he was hungry. This is how I'm controlling it all and keeping it all straight as to what the hell the character's doing. In here, I have, during a tick event, which is not the most performant way to do this, but this is the only way I know how to do it right now. Event tick means every frame. It's checking to do something every single frame. I have it first checking what state it needs to be moved into. Right now, move player, move food, depending on what the state is that we have selected. It's going to then run these functions. So if it's following, it's going to move to player. This move to player function is sitting over here. Move to player. We are moving to the player character at an acceptance radius, which is really just like a buffer of how far away he's going to stop from the player. It's moving to it. Once it's finished, we make sure we continue to set the status follow. That way he continues to follow at all times. The next one that will run is move to food. This function truly fires once the hunger drops below a certain I'm trying to think. Drops below a certain number, float, I guess, in this case. So this one being 71. So every 2 seconds, it subtracts hunger, whatever the current hunger is set to, by 2. If it's below 71, it will set the state of looking for food. When it sets the state of looking for food, it then fires off the function move to food. Simple, right? Then we go over here, move to food. We're getting all actors with tag, which means all of these guys, these are the actors, with the tag food. I'm sorry, this is kind of like a tutorial, but I'm really just trying to get into it so I cement it in my brain. So we're in the food object, which is just this guy. And we set the tag food. Easy enough, right? So we get all actors with that tag. Then we set an array of actors variable of everything. All actors of food get set into this one variable. It's like a collection. Then we get the companion's location. We find the nearest actor inside of this variable. So the closest one of these guys to where the thing is. Closest one of those to where he is. Don't worry about the cone. I'm not using it yet. It says like site census. And we are going to set its move to target actor. Now, if there's nothing left in the world or in this array, we check if it's empty. And if it's true, then it just goes straight to following the player. If I don't set that, then it just stands there and does nothing at all. So we need to set that. But if there is stuff in this variable, it'll return false because is empty is false. There's stuff in there. It will fire this off, move to it, stand there for 2 seconds, and from here, I actually have this event hit going off too. So when the companion runs into any actor of tag food, it will fire off another custom event called food event, which is right here. It destroys the thing it hit, which I'm showing here. Food hit, destroys it, sets its hunger to the max hunger number, which I have as 100, so 100% essentially. And then we set it back to follow. This here really isn't necessary because we're setting it here, but I'm going to do it as a like secondary, like just to make sure it works. I could probably get rid of it. Besides that, the trainings. So clicking on these guys. When we click on those guys, it will fire off this event. Now, in order for it to know which one it needs to go to and which, really which thing it needs to go to, we are passing through the location. So say I click on the speed one, this one right here. Whoops. Say I click on this guy. It's setting its world location into this input. And when I set it into this input, it comes out right here. So then I know exactly what to go to. We've set the companion state to say, we're going to training. Don't do anything else. Don't move the player. We are setting it to training. We sit there for 3 seconds, then we set it back to follow. And then we add to our actions done today. That is counting how many actions we've done in a day. And once we hit our max actions, which you saw up here, right now I'm just printing end day, which is that giant long string of stuff that you saw. So when I go over here, click on this 5 times, end day. So that's what that is. Back to you. What it's supposed to be doing is checking here. If actions done today, which is how many actions we've done, is less than max actions in a day, which would be less than 5, set this to true, and then you fire everything off. But it's still letting you do things. Don't know why. But I need to go into here and make sure we're maybe checking for max actions here first before it even fires into these events. So I'll play with that a little bit. There's a lot more that needs to go into it, a lot more testing, but that is essentially the entirety of the thing. What is handling this enumeration, all of these states, is the AI controller, and that's it. Set the companion state to this variable. I was printing it out. This I don't even need anymore and it'll still work. But this is good for debugging. Before I had the UI built out to show it. Before it was just anything I did, it would display here without context. So now I have it actually displaying each piece of variable so I know what's going on a little better. And this UI is going to change. This is just for testing. I have no idea what the art style is for this game yet. I have no idea what type of things you're going to be training, growing, and whatnot. Could be small, little, cute monsters, easy to model, because I'm still new to all that. Could be simple stuff I find on Unreal Marketplace or on a 3D forum that somebody is giving away or selling. I don't know. I don't know yet. Oh, look, he's going to get food. See, he's just going to do whatever he wants. So yeah, this is it. I'm just calling it Monster Rancher Clone right now. So yeah, there's that. This is the game that I am going to be working on. Right now I'm trying to get this situated to where I can train, I can test variables, actually hook them up to different things. Like speed is more going to be movement speed and dodge chance for attacks. Strength is going to be exactly that, attack damage more than anything. Health is going to be your health. I'm thinking either strength or health is also going to be like injury stats or states. So like if he gets injured, a level 1 injury, he might half his stats until you get him, better. If he's a level 2 injury, he's going to be out for a while, and you just have to keep working with him. Injury 3, he's dead. he's dead. Then you've got to go get a new monster and not really start over. You'll start over in the sense that you have a new monster. However, depending on the level of like tournaments you've gotten to, you can get a new monster, purchase a new monster, or whatever, with higher stats than whatever the starting base stats were at the beginning of the game. So you don't have to like constantly grind from the beginning if your monster dies. This way it'll kind of help, keep it going. Because it's something I always hated with Monster Rancher was you start from the beginning again when it dies. I hated it. I understood it, but I hated it. So this is going to be kind of like here's an extra boost. It's not going to be up to the same level. It's going to be probably like half a tier back from where you are in the tournament stats wise. But yeah, so I'll explain that more once I actually figure out how it's going to work. Right now it's all speculative. But yeah, this is it. And then I'm sorry this has gone on for so long. My last announcement is going to be everything I do now is going to be under Sullivan Creative Studio. I'm no longer doing Busted Bones Gaming. The reason being, I'm actually going to be releasing these products under the studio name, and Busted Bones Gaming is just more like, hey, my gaming page, I'm gaming, I'm playing, I don't know, right now Multiverses, or Among Us with Friends, or Phasmophobia, or whatever I end up playing. That's more of what Busted Bones Gaming was supposed to be, not so much the business side of things. That's always been my creative studio, Sullivan Creative Studio, because I'm a graphic designer. It's what I do, and it's already out there. So yeah, so I'm pulling the games under that umbrella as well for design studio. It's supposed to be an all-encompassing design type. So yeah, I'm going to be changing this channel that you're currently on, Busted Bones Gaming. I'm changing it to Sullivan Creative Studio. The reason I'm not opening a new one is because I already have the Gmail account created. It won't, as far as I can tell, I haven't tried. I can't open a YouTube channel without a Gmail account. So I can't use my custom domain email as an account. So I'm just going to reuse Busted Bones Gaming. So in the future, if you see Busted Bones branding, so Sullivan Creative Studio branding, that's why. Right now, for everybody that's watching or is subscribed, and thank you again if you are, you're gonna get a little confused. Busted Bones Gaming is no longer a thing. It is now Sullivan Creative Studio. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you want to help with this project in any way. Whether it's ideas, whether it's models, whether it's graphics, whatever. Let me know. I'd love to hear feedback. And yeah, this is a learning project for me that I do intend to turn into a sellable product. Again, single player, that's all I want to do. That way I don't have to do replication on the multiplayer side, server business. I don't want to deal with it. Single player only. But yeah, if you would like to help in any way, offer feedback, offer ideas, offer any kind of asset over, let me know. And I'm hesitant to say this, I will pay for assets, but I'm a solo dev with no money to pour into this. It's going to be very few and far between that I do put any money into it, and it has to be a huge time saver and big ROI, return on investment, for that. So yeah, again, thank you guys. If you are subscribed, please, thank you. That's amazing. If you aren't, consider doing it. It's a free click. It doesn't really do anything. I release videos once a month at the most right now. So it's not like you're going to be constantly hit with notifications like some of these other big guys. But thank you again, guys. Have a good one.